But yeah, we're at a perfect start today. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling good, doing good. It's been a little bit. It has been a little bit. I think a couple times was because my dog passed away and stuff like that, so I didn't want to do a podcast. And a little bit of it was being lazy on my part, so that's why I didn't do the podcast nor streaming a little bit here and there. But then again, I have some amazing friends and they want to keep doing it, so I enjoy it too. So it's really good to have them around me. You know, what you drinking? V8.
Hmm?
V8 orange. You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I hated that V8 stuff, like always. It wasn't my favorite. It wasn't though.
V8's kind of whack, but the like a fruit fusion or whatever they had, that stuff smacked.
Yeah, it was alright. We always talk about the random shit. I'm gonna be honest with you. We don't really have, like, we're gonna talk about Godzilla and then like a story that one of our friends has here. He's gonna talk about that once we get everybody in here and talking and definitely talking and doing stuff. And, but yeah, it's been okay. It's been a few good weeks. I was struggling a little bit because a couple things that happened with my family and stuff like that, but that was it's almost been 2 months now since we've done a podcast, so
Yeah, just about.
yeah. That's my fault. Some being my fault. But you know what? It hasn't been too bad though. Have you guys been watching anything recently? Like watching YouTube or like shows or anything?
I've been watching Invincible. I'm on my second watch through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really good show.
Oh, it's a very good show. I've been watching The Boys too. I just got that started because I haven't been watching a lot of anything.
Yeah.
But then I started watching Invincible. I'm like, hey, this is pretty good. Maybe I should give The Boys a shot. The Boys seems cool, but it's a little too edgy for me to be like, wow, The Boys is so amazing.
Yeah.
It has its place. It's definitely like good, but like I feel like Invincible treads that line very nicely between like that kind of like grim, dark, brutal version of superheroes that The Boys has, where like everything's fucking awful.
Yeah.
And and like, DC Marvel, where it's all like, oh, happy-go-lucky, maybe some dark notes here or there, but nothing that can't be resolved with a little bit of teamwork, knit and grit.
Yeah.
And it hits that stride in between really well because, like, I'm gonna be honest, for being named Invincible, he gets his ass handed to him often.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he does. We're not going to do any spoilers on that show because we have some friends that deserve to watch that show. Because in my opinion, that show is amazing and I want a lot of people to watch it. It's very mature. It's for a mature audience. It's not a kid's show at all. Let's just say you see a lot of death, a lot of gory stuff in cartoon form. You know, it's kind of like, I would say like the gore on Rick and Morty times 10.
I'd say it's about similar.
Yeah.
Just a more realistic art style.
Yeah, that could be it. I did nitpick at a couple things though, like in a couple episodes you can see a little bit of CGI that doesn't mix well with the animation, but that's the first season. They're gonna, of course, it's not gonna be perfect, you know.
Well, and also I noticed some of that too, but really it was just like, I think it was just mainly with like crowds and wide shots.
Yeah.
Where, frankly, I don't mind CGI there. Obviously, they want to blend it well, and I can understand why sometimes that just doesn't work out as well as you want.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not gonna make some poor animator draw individually 700 people running. In fact, that's an issue with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. One thing that's happening with that is Part 6 is coming out. That one's going to be fine for animation, but it's got people talking about, the next parts to be animated. And part 7 revolves around a horse race. And one of the big complications that a lot of the community is seeing is like, there's easily like 1,000+ horses in some of the scenes that you see in the manga. Right. So for animation purposes, to get like a proper scope of that, that's going to be a lot of individual horses that they would need to animate properly. And from what I understand, I've read a little bit about it, but I guess animation, horses are really hard to do.
Yeah.
Like there's like a couple like poses that are easy enough, but when you get into like their proper animation, just their gait is really hard to capture. It doesn't look right because horses are everywhere. It's why you usually see stylized stuff like in Tangled or in a bunch of other things. Usually the horse is doing like really animated stuff, cartoony stuff, so that it's one of those things where it looks less realistic, but it's enough to suspend your disbelief as opposed to just looking like bad realistic stuff.
Right. That's not terrible.
Yeah, no. I mean, if the worst complaint you can have about the animation is like they used a little bit of CGI, like I consider that a win myself.
Yeah, you're big on JoJo.
Oh, I'm so big on JoJo.
Yeah.
In fact, the newest chapter is coming out in like the next day or two, and there's only like maybe maximum like 6 more chapters before that whole just part is done.
Wow.
And then it's going to be however long, but goodness gracious. Whew. So good.
How far into the boys are you?
Into the boys,
Season 1, probably?
Yeah, I'm still season 1. How good are we on spoilers? Can I spoil stuff for season 1? Has it been long enough?
It's been out for like over a year now.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I couldn't get through the first episode. Yeah, I was like, nah, this show ain't for me. I'll try to watch it another time, but I'm just like, not for me. I wasn't too keen on it.
Girlfriend exploded in the first episode.
Yeah. Kiwi's girlfriend straight up gets misted.
Yep. That's bad.
I got to the point with like A-Train versus, I think his name is Shockwave or something, the other speedster. Their big race and that whole plot. So far I am liking it, but yeah, it's definitely like it almost feels a little bit too on the nose. With a lot of the themes that it's presenting on and like just a lot of the plot points, it's like real heavy-handed about like, yeah, these guys are corporate. They're corporate superheroes. They aren't actually heroes. They're just actors. Like, and that honestly, like, it takes away a bit of it for me because it's like, so these are just a bunch of untrained people with superpowers. They're not actually like superheroes that are just, very like. I don't want to say utilitarian, like Machiavellian.
What was that? Hello?
Heyo.
Oh, Hunter's back. Hunter's here. Hunter, we're doing the podcast right now, sir. Say hello.
Casties.
But
Got him.
I actually saw a picture of like Superman versus the strongest superhero of the boys. I can't remember what his name is. Yeah, Homelander. And then Captain America and the Winter Soldier Captain America, that one. The bad guy or whatever the fuck. If there's any spoilers in that. I don't know, but I haven't watched it yet. And I actually looked it up. Oh man. Homelander hasn't fought anybody strong as him or stronger than him.
No, yeah, and that's a lot of my big issues because, plot point for the boys, major spoilers. There's only like a couple hundred superheroes throughout the United States. Is what they make it seem, maybe a couple thousand. So Homelander is like their biggest accomplishment.
Yeah.
He is the strongest. So it's I don't know, like one thing that I really like about superhero stuff is the optimistic whole, like, people get these powers and do good things with them. You have the people who don't, but you like look at Flash's rogues. A lot of them are self-made. They have tech, they have this, that, and the other, or they have some powers. But like, they use these powers with a purpose, and they still have that unique characterization.
Yeah.
And I feel like although the Boys has the unique characterization, the the heroes or the bad guys in the perspective of the show and our protagonists, they have no real motivation aside from we're famous.
Yep.
And I feel like that kind of detracts a little bit from it, because it's like, oh no, we gotta protect our, this is a PR issue.
They gotta protect their brand.
Yeah. And it's like, that's cool and all. I like that idea of superheroes, but it's not really a superhero show. It feels more like almost like corporate espionage with a superhero twist. And so it's a little bit off from what I expected.
Right.
I'll just wait till you get to the deep goes great, like SeaWorld or whatever. His superhero part, and I don't want to say what he does, but oh god. Just everything he does in I think season 2. There was a comment I saw that described it well. His whole storyline is a broad moment. It's so bad. He's an idiot, just to say the least.
He's a grody person.
Most of those fucking superheroes are that I've seen. On the first fucking episode, you see it.
Yeah, but most of them are just like violent or apathetic towards humans. I mean, the Deep is just like, he's sexual predator style, which is much worse.
Bad.
Like,
dude, walking around naked because he can.
Okay. In my opinion, give Invincible a watch if you're old enough, if you can handle that kind of shit. I'm gonna be honest, most of ours are scarred because of things we've done in our lives. But yeah, definitely give Invincible a watch. That's a really good one. There's a couple other shows that are coming out. There's actually a Godzilla anime coming out that I'm excited for. It's called Godzilla Singular Point, and it looks like they're going if you've watched Shin Godzilla, Skylar's gone.
Why?
I don't know. He didn't talk, so
he may join back, he may not.
yeah.
He may go to the Among Us chat, and then we vote him out.
But yeah, no, I really am excited for that Godzilla Singular Point. But since we're on Godzilla, Jacob, will you go to wherever we fucking talked about Godzilla vs. Kong and tell us what we voted?
I know what everyone voted.
Okay.
Because there were 2 people that voted something other than tie.
Yeah.
So, when we did the initial podcast for it, we were basing it on who comes out alive or not. Because that's what the advertisements were saying. Like, oh, one will win, one will fall type deal. And everyone but Justin and Will said it would be tie. Will said it would be all Kong. Justin said it would be all Godzilla. While everyone else said it would be a tie. Oh, they would team up, kill something else, because we knew Mega Godzilla. So yeah, that was it for there.
Okay, so we're the losers, but Monkey.
Pretty much. But technically Godzilla won also. Like, but after they
Okay, in my opinion, sorry to interrupt. In my opinion, Kong won the movie. He did. It was his movie. It was Kong's movie. That was all about him, and that's what it was supposed to be about. Godzilla won the fight. He won the first one and the third fight.
Well, he would have absolutely won the first one.
And technically, Godzilla did win because Kong did die.
Good point there.
He was out, but I mean, like, did he die?
He got defibrillated,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so at least he was going through fibrillation. So he wasn't dead, but he was down for the count. Like, that's a TKO in the lightest terms.
Yeah.
Basically, the movie went. I'll beat
Well,
my ass. But
Either way, we're probably gonna do like next stream or something, and we'll get like $25 or something together, and we'll go donate to a streamer. Sounds good.
We gotta do it like a strip club. We gotta do it $1 at a time.
Yo,
$1 donation.
Because that's what we agreed to, right? Was to donate.
Yeah, I think it was that if no one got it right or something, but I'm fine with giving it out because so many people did get it right.
Yeah. Or, you know what we could do? We have a surprise for one of our friends, and we're gonna be doing a podcast that day. Yeah. And we could surprise them with something a little special.
Oh, there goes Cam. Oh.
there comes
People
him.
talking this whole time, we haven't heard a word. We can save her for that also.
Yeah.
Not sure what we would do with that.
I mean, I know a couple small streamers that it could be pretty fun to give to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, good game, boys. And let's be honest, Kong would win now. He has the axe, he has the knowledge, he has monkey brain, not lizard brain. He takes round 4.
No, he will not take round 4 because the baby Kong will take round 4.
What?
There's a sequel coming out,
Baby Kong, who's he screwed?
and it's gonna be with another Kong.
Baby mama, come on.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but
But does
we'll
baby
figure it
mama
out.
Kong have a dump truck ass?
Kong kinda does, like right at the beginning, you see him scratching it.
Yeah, dog. Wait, he don't got no dump truck. I want Pixar Kong.
Let's fucking move this along. Let's not talk about a dump truck of an ass on big ass monkey. Let's not do that. I do not want to do that.
Yeah, dog. Don't hate the thirst. Mama Kong.
All right. So we have our friend here, Will.
And
Who
I have
wants
had a wild weekend.
Yeah. You have had a wonderful weekend. But before we go onto your weekend, I would like to say about our story. Say something about our story. I went to Wendover for the first time. I met up with these guys and we kind of drank and had some fun and gambled, and I met a really cool dude. And Will's story is about this dude, and I highly respect this dude. I do. He seems a really cool guy, and I hope everything's best for him. I really do. All right, Will, you can go ahead and tell your story. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you throwing a preface out there makes me feel like a dick for throwing a preface out there. Viewer discretion is advised.
Yeah.
The following story contains physical harm and poor decision making. All persons within are currently in stable conditions and are expected to make full recoveries. With that, so my buddy set himself on fire. Good story, boys. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this weekend, my buddy Austin. So back to Invincible. Friday evening, I am sitting at home. I am outside vaping, watching Invincible on my phone. And my buddy Austin calls me up and he's like, "Hey, we're going out to Knowles, which is a less populated town over a couple hours outside of the valley in Salt Lake, and it's real small place, real rural. It's essentially just dirt biking area. Like, I don't think I actually saw any houses or anything unless they're like way out there. But the area we were staying in last time I went was just kind of dirt bike. You camp out there, bring your bikes, have some fun. So of course I'm like, okay, well, I got a free weekend. I'm gonna try and go out with the boys. Get everything sorted out in my house. Make sure I'm cool to go. Don't have any responsibilities. I get picked up by him on Friday night. Him and my buddy Tristan, who also had extremely short notice. I packed within 5 minutes. Tent, sleeping bag, the whole kit and caboodle. 5 minutes, I was sitting out on my porch and they pulled up. And get over to Austin's house, have a couple beers, talk. Interesting side note, Glenn Howerton knows Ryan Dunn from the Jackass crew, the one that died in like 2011.
Yeah.
They were friends, I guess.
Oh.
The Always Sunny in Philadelphia crew and Ryan Dunn. I was watching a documentary on it on Friday. But, I go over to his house so that we can leave nice, bright and early in the morning. We wake up like 6, 7 in the morning. We get everything packed up, raring to go. We hit the convenience store, grab some ice for our coolers, and we're off. We ended up meeting up with Austin's dad in a different city. A little bit closer because his dad was just kind of doing a day trip, and we were going to meet up with him, hang out for a bit. He has a couple other fun toys like a side-by-side, a four-wheeler and such. And then when he left, we'd continue over to Knowles, find our campground, hang out there, keep the night going. I'm having a couple drinks. I wasn't driving. Part of why I got picked up, I couldn't bring my car. I had other obligations. But so we're having a couple drinks. I don't hop on the dirt bikes. In fact, recently I've burned out on a bike while trying to get it moving and scratched up my leg, dropped the bike on myself. So I'm not a dirt biking guy quite yet. But we're hanging out throughout the day, having a couple beers, going out. They're ripping through. I rode passenger a couple times. We're going through these tracks, and it gets to the point where Austin's dad leaves. We found a nice little campground outside of the wind, because this area is a high wind area. It was blowing all night, and we get our camp set up. We have all the cars blocking in. We're next to one edge of like they were calling it the pit. I guess it's a spot they camped before. But we kind of park our cars, get everything set up. Everyone else is doing car camping. My dumbass brought a tent, and we get the night going. We get a fire going. We roast some wieners. We're having a good time, having drinks. We've put the dirt bikes away at this point. We're beyond the point where that would be safe or considerate. And we're all hanging around the fire, having a good time. And we have the gasoline. We have the gasoline for the dirt bikes. And, being 20-something-year-old boys, this is not a story where we're acting like men. We're 21 and up boys. We start taking red to look up. We'll fill it with gasoline, pour it on the fire. Fire. And having fun with that. At a certain point, Austin's little brother, who was with us, because one of the dirt bikes is his, he goes to sleep. He's 12, so he went to sleep pretty early, crashed out in the Jeep. My buddy Tristan, he drank too fast. We put him to bed in his Jeep. Everybody has Jeeps, and then we had a Sentra. And at this point, it's myself, our buddy Marshall, our buddy Jeff or Hefe, Austin, and then our buddy Asher. We're all sitting around the fire. Austin and I are standing up. We're talking next to one of the cars, and I can't remember. We were just talking, joking around. We were definitely not being fire safe. Joking around about taking a poop on the fire, other mature concepts as such. And I don't know which one of us brought the idea up. I feel kind of bad because I think it was me. Because I was just like, yo, let's just like breathe a fireball. And Austin was like, okay. So we grab a red Solo cup. It's a terrible decision. And we pour a little bit of gas in it. Just a little bit. We actually dumped some on the dirt because it was a bit too full.
Let me give you guys a photo of what's about to go down.
Actually, it's not quite going to go down.
Not yet, but let's just continue.
But so, yeah, you know, he takes a little bit of gas in his mouth. He leans over the fire. Okay, cool. It blows a little bit, and then, you know, everybody's sitting there like, hey, fire, that was cool. And at that point, Austin's like, yo, we need to do that again, get it on video. And so our boy Jeff, he gets up. He's the photographer of the group. He gets posted up. I'm playing magician's assistant here. I help Austin fill up the cup. I go to try and I'm like, yo, that's way too much because he had like a solid like 5 ounces of gasoline in there. But I feel at that point he kind of got carried away by the moment.
Yep.
And so I try to like, you know, I'm like, hey man, let's dump a little bit of this out, but he's not listening. He grabs it. At this point I see headlights. Our buddy Jackson coming up. I didn't know it was Jackson, but at the same time, if you're going to be playing with fire, be aware of your surroundings. I don't know what car this is because I didn't get any notification that like, oh, he's here, you know, he's pulling up soon. So I'm trying to get him to stop so we can be like, hey, you know, let's not be complete idiots. At that point, Austin doesn't really listen. He doesn't think. Love him. He grabs the gas and I go to grab the cup. Now he splashed a little bit on his face because he didn't swill it back. He didn't drink any, thankfully. But he kind of throws the cup back to get a mouthful. He also had put a stick in the fire to get it lit up. And I go to grab it. I think I splashed a little bit more gas on him. I feel real bad about that. But he gets the cup away from his face. He lifts up the stick in his right arm. Or no. Yeah, no, his left arm actually. I have to think about it. Yeah, left arm. But he lifts the stick up in his left arm and he goes to blow a fireball. And he gets a fireball. That's for damn sure. It was a whoosh.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big one, but then then his entire face and his left arm almost down to the elbow, but like kind of mid, like short sleeve shirt limit, all catch fire. Now, this is when things, of course, kind of take a turn for the worse because now he's on fire. So at this point, Austin is kind of flailing. Now we have 2 people in tents and like 3 jeeps. He runs towards one of the jeeps with a tent in front of it. No, not like, right into the tent causing a massive fire or anything. Nothing crazy like that happens. Now, because we saw he was on fire, the group had a couple different reactions. Asher was on his phone. A little bit late to the party. He didn't quite do much. That's just fine. Too many cooks will spoil the broth. If we had everybody just on him immediately, it probably would have caused more confusion than what happened. So thank goodness wasn't anything crazy like that. What we ended up having go down, I run for him immediately. I see he's on fire. I tackle him and I tell him, roll your face in the dirt. Stop, drop, and roll. It immediately came to me. Now when I tackled him, I think at that point his face honestly was in the dirt for the most part. I think most of the fire went out right about then, at least his arm and such. Maybe a couple licks on his face and such as the fuel kind of finished up. But from there he kicks me in the head a couple times, because he's still flailing. He didn't calm down and start rolling. He is face down and just do real quick in my head. I don't know how many times I barely even noticed I was kicked aside from my head moving. I spring up, but his kicks kind of launched him towards more of the dirt area, and he was able to kind of finally pat himself off, and he's done. He's medium rare, really. He's not done. But he's extinguished himself. At this time, we have our buddy Jeff behind us. He was originally recording. At that point, he had grabbed one of the coolers and was ready to dump that on Austin. He hesitated because it was full of metal cans and glass bottles, and probably would not feel good to be pelted with that while you're on fire. So he kind of hesitated a moment, but we got him extinguished. Our buddy Marshall had trouble getting up. He was in a broken chair, so he wasn't really able to participate. So it ended up being the two of us kind of jumping at him. The other two, not quite there, but still aware of the situation. So from this point, our buddy Jackson, who was pulling in, as all this started, when he pulled in, I walk up to his car. Everybody else is obviously attending to Austin. We have him swarmed with everybody. They have flashlights on him, checking him out because it's dark. And I walk up to Jackson and I'm like, well, Austin was just on fire. And, he was like, yeah, I kind of heard that. Now, from here, it's a little bit of a blur. Everybody, a lot of moving pieces at this point. We have a couple of our boys tending to him. Now, Austin wasn't seriously burned. It's only a 2nd degree, which still sucks, but 3rd degree is where you really start getting system shock, permanent damage and such, scar tissues and all. We have his skin has the outer layers peeled down on his face a bit. We can't really show the photos that we took of him in the hospital, but it looks like a really bad sunburn. And then if he just peeled the skin by just dragging your hand down your face, no blisters, nothing like that on his face. He looked fairly okay given the situation. So at this point, we get him sat down in the Jeep. We're not quite sure if he needs to go to the hospital or anything, but we get him sat down in his Jeep. His little brother's in there. He woke up because Austin was screaming. So he's kind of woken up to something awful.
Yeah, that's terrible.
But there's
honestly, in that situation, it's bad, bro. Sorry to interrupt, but
no, it's good.
I've had 3rd degree burns on my hands, either 3rd or 2nd degree burns. I think they were 2nd, but it could have been worse. I fell and just it's a long story, but I'll just continue yours. But it stuff like that sucks, and especially when he's dealing with gasoline or something like that. That's really bad stuff, man. Yeah,
it certainly was a very quick burn. I looked it up later, and gasoline burns at 900 degrees Celsius. Now, of course, you have to take in consideration it's burning the fuel and not his flesh, but his flesh is getting kind of cooked really close. But yeah, so we get him in the Jeep. Jackson there, we're kind of evaluating. Now, the first things that I wanted to make sure of once I saw his face, and I'm like, okay, it's not a 3rd degree burn. The next thing I wanted to make sure of were his lungs. One big issue that people have, especially when it... yeah, you are right, Nightmare Wolf. It is awful. He did not have a very fun time. With any sort of fire near your lungs, whether you're in a house fire and you have to get out and you're inhaling the hot smoke, or in this case you're fire breathing poorly, fire in the lungs and intense heat in the lungs can actually rupture the sacs in your lungs that help pull the oxygen into your blood. So at that point, my main concern is that he is going to start suffocating. So, we have him. He's sitting in the Jeep. I'm next to him. Like, hey man, are you having any trouble breathing? Do you feel lightheaded? Anything like that? Just to make sure that is this pour some water on his face, let him sit down for a minute,
right?
Give him some burn cream. Is this take him to urgent care? Is this life flighting him? we determined that, you know, he was able to breathe. He wasn't having any trouble there. He was lucid. The first thing he asked after he's extinguished was, "Can I see the video?" Which, you know, at first I was like, "Oh no, shock," but he didn't seem to be in any sort of shock. He, at least not like to the degree it would be bad. You know, like when somebody's arm is off and they're just like, "Yeah, I'm having a good day. How about you?" He definitely realized like he is not okay. And so we sat him down in the Jeep, kind of deciding what to do. Took about a few quick minutes, like 2-3 minutes, where we kind of talked it over. We were getting things organized and calmed down a little bit. Now Austin was the one who elected like, "Hey man, I need to go to the hospital." Originally he insisted on just being taken home, but then from what he said, he was sitting in his Jeep and the dome light was on in the ceiling, and he looked up and it was just a blurry orb because his eyes were burned. So, you know, at that point he's kind of like, "Okay, yeah, I think I need to go to the hospital." We found the closest urgent care that was 24 hours, and they brought him in. From there, Marshall took his younger brother home, you know, got the dirt bikes and took his car. Jackson, who had just pulled up, and you know, he didn't get any of the fun. He just got the, you know, he just got the fire. He got the burn victim.
Yeah.
He drove him to the urgent care, from what I understand, quite quickly. You know, Marshall was kind of our DD at the site, so he took the other car, and Austin's little brother took them to his house. And then from there, it was myself, Asher, Jeff, and our buddy Tristan had been asleep. You know, just to reiterate that one. So he wasn't part of any of this. Now, at this point, at the campsite, we didn't really have much going on. We tended to the fire, gathered a little bit more firewood from nearby. You just kind of keep it going, because obviously none of us are going to sleep at this point. At least not immediately after. There's still quite a bit of
I'd
adrenaline
have trouble
pumping.
myself.
Yeah, like we kind of just sat down, cracked a beer, and we're like, "What the hell just happened?" And our buddy Jeff was having a rough time of it. He definitely was not prepared for that situation, and it hit him very hard. I can't divulge that; it's his personal thing. But we talked about, we talked to him, calmed him down. You know, we were basically just sorting through what we did in that situation, because like I feel a lot of guilt about it, because I was actively assisting him, and very possibly made his burn worse by trying to pull the cup away from him and, you know, causing that to splash a bit. But with that, you know, Asher felt like he wasn't paying enough attention in the situation, and Jeff just had a lot of emotional response to it, a lot of panic. Tristan slept through it entirely. We had a running joke throughout the evening that after the first fireball that went successfully, I actually turned to our buddy Marshall and I said, "Man, Tristan is gonna hate the fact that he's asleep right now." You know, we were cracking jokes. We like everything before the fire was like, that was like the best hour of the night. Everybody was in good spirits. We were messing around, you know, having a couple shots and such. Yeah, but he slept through it all. He was drunk and slumped, and so he slept through it, despite the fact that we damn near slammed our heads into his Jeep when I tackled Austin to the ground. And also, you know, Austin screaming like a dying man. So I don't know how he slept through it, aside from being exceptionally drunk. But at that point, the perspectives here, Marshall, he drove the Jeep back. He had to calm down Austin's little brother, because Austin's little brother woke up and then was like, whatever, went back to sleep until everybody was coming into the Jeep and like, "Hey, here's the situation." And his little brother felt a little bit of guilt about that, but he ended up being all right. You know, the moment that we're like, okay, Austin's fine, he was a lot calmer. But Marshall, you know, he kind of helped him out with that. Our buddy Jackson drove him to urgent care at the urgent care facility. They basically immediately waved him back and started getting cream and stuff on the burns, you know, getting that treatment there.
Yeah. Did he
Then-
have to go to the hospital after that? Or-
Yes, he did. The urgent care basically, like they got like the basic stuff they could do, but they're like, you're gonna need to go to the University of Utah. So at that point, they were gonna call an ambulance. But then they're like, after having him there for a minute, they're like, you know what? Have your friend take you, because the ambulance, it's gonna have to come from there and then go back, whereas this is a one-way trip. And so, they set out to the university. There he got a couple IVs. They made sure he had saline. They weren't sure if he needed surgery, so he couldn't drink anything. They tested his eyes, made sure that they weren't too messed up. His eyelids are swollen a bit. We aren't showing any pictures on the stream due to the fact that you can see his face, and it's just a little too personal for him. But his eyelids were swollen a bit. He does not have eyelashes right now. Overall in good spirits. They pumped him full of pain meds, and as he said, it just made him go to sleep. The pain did not get any lighter, which makes sense. But burns suck.
Yes.
But so, from there, he spent the night in the hospital. Around 6 a.m, his dad came in and, called him a dumbass. And then his dad's girlfriend came in and called him a dumbass. And then, once all the initial testing was good, he should be in full health. He's burned up a little bit. Potential for a skin graft on his neck, but it's more like one of those things like, we'll kind of have to take a look-see and see in a day or two how it's healing. But from there, everything pretty well went peachy. Campsite, we woke up, packed up, and then we went back to his house. We did pick up a Walmart. We went to Walmart because we have a couple pictures, such as the one that we've shown on stream here, and then we had a couple pictures that he sent us from the hospital. At like 3 a.m, he sends 3 pictures of his face, and just how goofy he's looking, because he equated it to, he looks like a ghoul from Fallout. Which Jamie, bring that up.
That severity, but
Yeah, not to that extent, but there's definitely like a family resemblance.
Right.
And we went through there, went to Walmart. We printed off those pictures, 2 4x6s and 11x14, and we picked up a get well card. Now, to explain Austin and why this is a funny card, Austin is an atheist anarchist. He's full-blown punk. So we got him a get well card with Bible verses on it. God is with you today. You'll get well soon. Just say it in your prayers and all will be fine, kind of stuff. And we, just put the pictures of him in there, and we had the poster-sized one. And I think my favorite point at Walmart there was, we went to the 1 hour booth because the 11x14 takes a little bit longer, and they have the attendant there. And so we sent it in, and we didn't want to wait a full hour. We wanted to get over to his house. So I walk up to the attendant. I'm like, hey, yes, are you the guy who handles the 1 hour photos? And he's like, yeah. Did you just put something in? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, he goes over, he looks at it. He's like, yeah, give me about 20 minutes. I should have it done. So we go hang out for a moment, but we were kind of close by. Didn't want to miss out on getting it even earlier than that. And at one point, I see him printed off. And he has the 4x6s in his hands, one at each hand. And he kind of looks at them real quick. And, it's a picture of a man on fire followed by a man in hospital.
That's awesome.
And then he just kind of looks over at our group of friends with this look like, what are you doing? At that point, he gets it finished up. We get out of Walmart and we go to Austin's house. And he's in pretty decent spirits. He's there with Marshall, who spent the night at Austin's place. And, they have some Wiener Schnitzel because Austin was pretty hungry after the whole hospital ordeal. And so I walk into his room and, plainly state, you look ugly. We had a whole group chat going where we were calling him the Human Torch. People were blaming me. It was fun. Jokingly blaming me, but not too jokingly. We were like watching the video frame by frame just to be like, what happened here? which is how we got the photo of him on fire, face and stick. But they're blaming me. We're goofing around. Austin's sitting there like, no, that was all me. He's a good sport about stupid stuff like this. He, lesser men would point fingers and be like, why'd you let me do that? When he's, we were all probably equally culpable, but he is a good sport, and he used good spirits. He was telling the doctors what exactly happened, and I guess the doctors were saying like, yeah, we used to do stuff like that too. He's making a good recovery. He was in good spirits. We had all the boys in his room sitting there. He plans on taking the next little bit off work. I told him to catch up on some anime. He hasn't seen Fire Force yet, which I highly recommended. Oh yeah, I know. He's yeah. He's gonna be hanging out. The whole friend group's kind of hanging out on standby. If he needs some food or he needs some help with something, we're all kind of willing to hop over to his house, help him out. So we don't have shifts or anything set up because I doubt he'll need that much. But he's we're kind of all hanging out on call to help him out. And it's it's been a day or two. And when Tristan woke up in the morning and we're like, yeah, no, Austin's in the ER. He got lit on fire. he did exactly what I thought he would do, and he was like, why did I go to sleep? It was a pretty fun night, all things considered. Even Austin was saying that was a good night.
Right.
But
man, well, a lot of people have gone to bed, but I think that we might just end on that note. But I do want to let everybody know, June 5th, there will be a podcast with everybody in person. Everybody.
Don't announce that. Hey, don't announce that yet.
I
haven't had a chance. Well, you rescind that announcement.
No.
It's 5-second rule.
Why?
I have to talk to you about that scheduling.
Why?
I'll tell you when we're not speaking on a public forum.
Okay.
But I think a better note to end it on is don't play with fire, especially when you've been drinking.
My God, alcohol and anything doesn't mix. So yeah. Be safe. Love you all. Thank you for coming in and watching us talk and bullshit for a little bit. Love you guys and see you later.
Love y'all.